Victorious Ministries International and Pastor Tony Smith presents Conversations.
Hey, I'm Pastor Tony Smith, and we're not going to waste any time. We're going straight into conversation. These ladies have a word just for you. God bless you, and I'll see you soon at the end of the program.
Hello, and welcome to Conversations. Young men, young women, why is it such a rush not to be a virgin? Remember when Grandma used to say, it's better to be kept? What about peer pressure? Is it there to help you, or is it there to hinder you? Well, all that and more up next on Conversations. Hello, and welcome to Conversations. To our viewers, as you can see, Evangelist Sai, Missionary Shantae, and Elder Pooh are not here, but on our set, we have some very, very special guests. Over to my right, we have Deaconess Chanel Boston, and to my left, this is my left, we have our producer, the one and only Deaconess Shavonna Williams. We welcome you. So glad to have you guys with us on today. And today we're going to be talking about a very, very, I believe it's a very touchy but very important topic. And it's about being a virgin. Why do kids think it's such a dirty word? I know that we can blame music, we can blame video, we can blame so many things, but why is it so hard for a young woman or male, because we don't want to just keep it to just women, okay? Because there are some males that are just, you know, hey, let's, you know, get it on. But we just want to know, why is it such a rush for them to not wait?
Yeah. Well, you know, I don't think that it's anything new. I can remember going back 125 years ago. When I was young. I mean, there was pressure then. Yeah. You know, to, be sexually active, and, you were considered corny or, homely or whatever if you weren't sexually active, and not necessarily quote unquote going all the way, but you needed to be doing something sexual. So I can imagine that, now fast forward to today's generation, it's unconscionable for them to think about not having sex until they're married. I mean, it's not even, I don't even think it's, I don't even think it's top of mind.
It seems like you gotta have sex before you get out of high school. You know what I mean? Forget, college and serious relationships and all that stuff. I mean, it's like, and we seriously, in today's world, we're trying to make sure that they don't have sex in elementary school. Right. You know what I mean?
So make sure those boys and those girls are separated at all times. And then, even then, you have to be careful and leery what's going on in those separated issues. I know one thing, that I see a lot of cartoons that have sexual undertones. And we think that it's okay for our kids just to sit in front of the television. You sit there and you watch that, but we don't know what we're, exposing our kids to.
Yes, cartoons aren't what they used to be. What happened to the Flintstones and the Jetsons?
They go bye-bye.
It's really not what it used to.
Let's just
Are you taking over Evangelist Sai?
I'm sorry.
We have to pray for you before you leave out of here. Really. But you can, I mean, the generation now is different. And I honestly can say, and I'm not going to speak for everyone, but do parents actually sit down and say, this is why you should be a virgin?
No. I think a lot of parents are very afraid to have any type of sex conversations with their kids because, number one, you don't want to conceive in your mind that your child, your baby, is actually having sex. So to whether you know or whether you don't know, it's that shadow of, well, I don't know, so it's okay.
And
you know what else which isn't necessarily good.
Yeah, it's the whole ignorance is bliss.
Exactly. That's a good way of putting it, because if you really don't know which path your child is taking, because that's how homosexuality creeps in, that's how sex at an early age creeps in, and it's almost like a criteria that you have to meet as a teenager in order to be accepted. Right, and to say the word, like they wouldn't dare tell their friends that they're a virgin. And why not?
Right.
Because they're afraid of the ridicule, they're afraid of backlash, they're afraid of not being accepted. But, you know, when we were having the conversation earlier, you were saying in a lot of countries, they consider being a virgin as being something that's very prominent and royal, and very regal. So why is it that in this country it seems like with everything there's always like a double standard with everything.
It's always something, and they're always, and because of that, other countries are looking at the United States like it's, you know, the word virgin to us is really nothing compared to them. It's like, it's to know that you are a virgin in another country, it's like you're looked upon like you are a princess, a queen.
You're heavenly. You're just untouched.
Yeah, you're untouched. And that's like something, you know, that's major. And unfortunately, those rules, those things are not taught here. And I honestly think us as parents, we are afraid of disappointment in knowing
that's very true.
If it is a yes, we don't look past, you know, we want it to stay as no, but we don't want to be disappointed. And I hate to put Miss Boston on the spot, but you know I am. I know that you have a very young daughter. You have a very young daughter. Tell us, you know, what are some of the roles that you're trying to teach her? Because the generation is very different from when you were growing, when I was growing. And unfortunately, as you said before, even in elementary school, you have to make sure you keep a guidance on your child. So give us some information
with
that you teach her.
You know, our daughter is 8. But with her, we kind of do, if she asks, then we tell her, you know, because she's 8, you know, we don't want to tell her too much, you know what I mean, because she's only in the 3rd grade. So, you know, and we said earlier about television shows, and I was going to say, you know, one day she came downstairs, you know, we were kind of just letting her watch whatever it is, because we just trusted, you know, and no offense against other networks, but we trusted Nickelodeon, we trusted, you know, we just thought as long as you're watching television, you're good as far as those type of shows. So she was watching iCarly, you know, and like you said, they have sexual undertones because, I mean, these little, you know, I think they're in the 7th grade, they're kissing, you know, kissing games. I mean, they're having adult conversations. So she would come downstairs and she would have questions, and we were like, well, where is it coming from? So, you know, and my husband, you know, he said, well, what are you watching? So we went upstairs, looked on her television, and she was watching, not only was she watching Nick, but she was watching Teen Nick.
Which is worse.
And listen, let me tell you, the show was Degrassi.
Yes.
Horrible. Degrassi, they have homosexuality is acceptable on this show. This is a bunch of high school kids, and these are the things, this is what she was watching. We had no idea. So now she is banned from anything that's not a cartoon. So she is Flintstones, like you said, she's Flintstones, Bugs Bunny, you know, all those.
Yes.
They have Tom and Jerry cartoons. You know, so I mean, because she's 8 and she's having questions, and I'm like, what are you?
And you know what, Dignish, you know, with those questions, unfortunately, you know, what is it? You start wondering, okay, well, what is it? You know, since I'm asking this question, they're kissing. Okay, what happens when you kiss another guy? You know, why is it so important to kiss this guy? Why is it so important to have a boyfriend?
The curiosity.
You know, and that's really a sad thing. But you had mentioned something. You didn't want to tell her too much. But what is too much?
I think it depends.
Nowadays,
right, because I mean the generation now is so much. They're far more advanced. And they have so much more to contend with and so much to deal with than when we were growing up, like you said. And I think it depends on the age. Like I have 2 teenage children, boy and a girl, Ashata. Yeah. So in which my oldest will be 17. I know. Look. 17-year-old. I'll let you girl. So He'll be 17, but the same conversation that I have with him won't be the same conversation that I have with my 13-year-old. And beside the gender, you know. But when we talk to each of them, like one of my biggest things was when my husband and I got married, because I had, you know, my children from a previous relationship. When I married my husband, and he's very affectionate. And I was afraid of having that open affection in front of my children. But the difference is in what we had to show them and explain to them, we're married. This is what married people do. Married people. This is what married people do. So that's a different thing too, because, you know, when you're thinking about all of the things that they see on television, you know, these music videos are outrageous.
I have no
They're
comment.
outrageous. Everything is sexual. How is it that you're, you know, whether it's a music video or whether it's even a commercial. They're advertising a soda. Somebody's coming out of the water glistening and all of this stuff, or laying across a car to sell a Sprite. I don't understand.
It's really sad because every commercial, as you said, is very sexual, and then you have the young girls who don't have much of
They're not developed.
But yet girlfriend can be very much developed. So then you start putting the tissue and, you know,
because you want to be like
her. Because you want to be like her. Then you do certain things that, you know, maybe get her bigger behind or certain things like that because somebody is not more developed. That brings to me a rush of trying to become something that you were not yet to become. So when you have that, and you can see all the attention going to the girlfriend. So when you have the attention going to the girlfriend, you want the same thing. You know, because you don't understand it. So you're looking, you're like, well, why can't, you know, the way I dress? So you'll come out with a short skirt. And you'll come out, and then that's going to attract something else. But why is it so hard for us not to wait until we marry? I was reading a study about young people who are in college, and a very great percentage, unfortunately I don't have that percentage with me, but a very great percentage said they would rather wait
than to
they will wait till they get married. And all I can look at that as if I'm focused. And we have a lot of kids who are not focused.
And they know the repercussions of actually having premarital sex. There's STDs, there's pregnancy, there's so many other grown-up issues that, you know, unfortunately these kids take on if they delve out there into being sexually active.
And you have to be real. You have to be really, like, at this stage of the game, you have to be really explicit and graphic with our children. Like really, like show them what diseases look like. You know what I mean? Like you can even get a disease from kissing. This is what it looks like. So it's not like you can take the passive.
Scare
them straight. Seriously, because I mean we can look at things as, you know, on the surface as, oh well, they'll learn like I did. Honestly, if being in this ministry, if I would have known, I would have definitely been a virgin until I got married. Honestly, seriously. And once you're older, and you know, you put away childish things, and you come to know the knowledge of what we know and who we know, I'm telling you, I would have, because you just don't know, or at least they don't know, the things that they have to go through in order to get to a certain point.
Well, Deaconess Shavonda, you're getting ready to preach, but we want to pause for a second because we do have a part 2 today. We want to thank Pastor Tony Smith and Victorious Ministries for sponsoring our show. To our viewers, do not go anywhere because the next thing we will have will be for you. We'll be right back.
Have you been waiting for something new and exciting to do with your kids? The wait is over. Victorious Moon Bounce is here. If you're a daycare provider, a summer camp, or a parent just looking for a theme for your child's next birthday party, or you just need a couple of hours to run out and do some errands, we are here to help you. Group rates are available. Hurry up because the dates are going fast. For more information, call the administration office at 410-433-8066 for open jump times or to book your next party at Victorious Moon Bounce.
And welcome back to Conversations. Our earlier topic, we were talking about virgin. Why is it such a dirty word? And Deaconess Shavonna was preaching. Yes. So I'm sure the part 2 of our show today is basically dealing with peer pressure, pressuring our youth to the extreme. And I know there are a lot of things. I know I was dealt with peer pressure. I believe that everybody actually did. But unfortunately, as I said before, the generation that we deal with today is, to me, is 10 times worse. Why is it, you know, why do you think peer pressure is so prominent?
I don't know. I think I can compare it to almost being bullying. It's so strong.
Yes. That's a good
it's like
analogy.
a bully. You know, I'm gonna bully you into kissing this boy. I'm gonna bully you into, like, you know, doing this. If you don't do this, then I'm gonna beat you up. That's a bully. That's more than peer pressure.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
I think the kids, you know, it's such, they're so vulnerable. Even the ones that try to come off so hard and confident, they're so vulnerable, and they so badly want to be accepted.
Yes.
That, you know, the fear of rejection, the fear of being teased really pressures them into doing things that they may not even want to do.
Yes.
But because, you know, they don't want to be rejected, they succumb to it.
Absolutely.
Right. We have so many children that just deal with, I don't want to leave it with the young girls, but men. We have so many young men who just, you know, pimples are on the face, you know, they're not even grown to be where they're supposed to be yet, and they have friends who try to persuade them in doing certain things. I mean, regardless of what it is, bad things. How does a young man overcome that? Are they able to overcome it? And the reason why I'm just looking at the young man so much is because, to be honest, it's the enemy's job that wants to destroy the man, because the man is the one that helps uphold the family. If you don't have a man there, there is no covering. And it's important for a man to be in your life to have that covering. So when you have a young man that, you know, really looks low upon himself, and then he tries to go out and reach for certain things to make him strong, you know, is there a remedy to help him to, you know, make himself better? You know, even, you know, dealing with the young women, I don't want to leave them out either, but they rely so much on people, but they never rely on their self.
It has a lot to do with that conversation that you have with your children, like that at-home connection that you have. How often do you talk to your children? Is there a man in the household? Is his father there? Is there like a mentor for them, if indeed, you know, it's not only the mother and the father? Is there someone else outside that you trust, like someone in the church? You know, because our church is a strong backbone for a lot of family. And unfortunately, not everyone has this. You know,
I think it's important to just speaking from a marital aspect. I think it's important, if you have male children, to allow your husband to take that prominent role with the male child, because as the mother, you don't know everything as to how to raise them as a man.
That's right.
To raise them to be a man. So you have to allow the husband to take that reign and allow him to teach him. Now, no matter how difficult it may be, because when we're women and we have a certain level of control, we have a certain level of, we want things done our way, but when you allow that husband that you're married to, that you sleep with every night, that you trust to raise your male child in the way that he should go, then you have to completely let him do it.
Right. But you know what? But there are a lot of guys that don't have fathers. And I'm going to tell you how quick it is for a trend of peer pressure to be set. You can walk down the street and see 10 guys with the same outfit on. Showing the underwear, showing the boxers, excuse me, not underwear, showing the boxers, okay? You'll see them walking down the street, pants are hanging below a certain way. Tennis shoes have to be worn. If you don't have these $300 tennis shoes, I think they're by Nike, I don't even want to get into it, then you're nobody. So you have these young men going out trying to fit in to something that they were not fit into. So when they don't have a father, and when they don't have a mother, you know, and that's they have the ability to get the strength from their self. But when they don't even look at their self and they look somewhere else, how can we help them? Because honestly, a man has the ability to move a mountain. Really.
That's very true.
But they have to look at their self first, and they don't. They continually just go, well, let me see what homeboy doing.
Right.
You know, and that's not, you know, I don't think that's right. I think somebody needs to come out, and if nobody is going to come out, then somebody within them, that person that's with them needs to come out.
Right.
You know?
But it's really hard for people in general, but let alone young people, to identify that inner strength.
Absolutely.
They really do
Without help.
need help. I mean, there's just no other way around it. You need an example, a mentor, a pastor, somebody.
Yes.
Because you're not likely to see it if you don't have anybody to show you how to get there.
Right, right. And I think kids are so afraid of individuality, where they feel like they have to fit in so much that they have to be like so and so, or they have to be like the group, where or be like the clique or the girl. You know, the same thing with the girl. And it's okay to be different.
Right.
It really is okay. It's okay to be your own person. And I think that's what they have to realize. And you know, Pastor Lenore, you were saying, you know, how they have to tap into their inner strength and reach out to someone, or more importantly, a strong individual has to reach out to them. Really, that's what it comes to. Because remember when you were growing up, you know, on your block, and you know, the neighbor, if you were doing something wrong.
The neighbor tell grandma now.
Grandma now. Tell grandma now. You know what I mean? But we looked out for each other, and we looked out for each other's children, and that's so lost now. It's like everybody minds their own business.
Right. Don't you tell me about my child.
Exactly.
But literally, it takes a village.
It really does take a village. It really does.
And I really want to speak, because I really feel strongly in my spirit, even about, you know, someone that's viewing right now, to some young people, about, because we know we may not be able to identify, but we know that it is it's a struggle to be influenced and pressured by people to do things you don't want to do. And what I'd like to say to the people watching, I really feel strongly about a young lady that they need to come here. They need to come here because Tracy mentioned earlier that, you know, the backbone and the foundation of what is taught here by Pastor Tony is really helping develop people, pushing them into their purpose. And so if you don't have anyone in your life to push you, you need to come here, because any of us that you see on this stage or anyone that you see when you come here, we will be glad to reach out to you and help you grow. There are many people we have here who didn't have families, no one to show them until they got here to Victory. So I really want to convey that strongly. And the young woman who I'm saying this to knows who she is, because she just turned this on. She was going through the stations, and she just flipped on this show. And she said, and she's hearing this right now. And I want you to come, and I want you to say something to one of us when you get here.
That's really good.
Speak that.
I love the Holy Ghost.
Awesome.
I love the Holy Ghost.
Peer pressure is so prominent. I was on a website. It's called Campaign for Our Children, and they have different things. They have teen guides, information for parents to help you effectively, as much as possible, raise your teen. And one of the things that, you know, they had some quotes from teenagers, and one of the things I wanted to read is why say no. And it says, reasons why teenagers have said no to sexual intercourse. You can enjoy being young. That was from Natasha, age 14. The one that struck out to me the most was experience being a teen before you have to raise one.
Excellent.
That was from Melissa, and she's 11.
Excellent.
So these are teenagers who are expressing individuality. They have made a choice that I am going to be an individual. You're not going to dictate to me, and that's what our teens really need to understand, that no one else dictates who you're going to be. So when you do find that, you know, that mentor, when you know, have certain programs that really are established to help, don't be afraid to reach out, and don't be afraid to be your own person.
We there's a show that comes on, and I really dislike the show a lot, just dealing with teenage pregnancies and being pressured and becoming a mom, not sure if they want to make the right decision. They're pregnant, but now they want to give the child up for adoption. All of that stuff, I really do think it's unnecessary, and a lot of you may disagree with me, because if you thought about it before, you wouldn't have to think about, okay, how am I going to supply this? How am I going to supply that? I can't afford to raise my child, so I'm going to give my child up for adoption. A radio show had something on the other day saying that the mother was trying to find her child because she had the child at a very young age. And I mean, I just really want this generation to know. I know a lot of them say you don't know anything, and a lot of them say, you know, you don't know what I'm dealing with. Honestly, we really do know what you're dealing with. Even though we may be older, there have been a lot of experiences. But being put in that situation, I do not think that you have to be placed there. You make your own choice. You make your own determination of what you want out of life. So when you have this situation of a young woman looking for love, being peer pressured into becoming something she don't want to do, having the young man doing something that he don't want to do, they really have to be encouraged. And sometimes you really have to encourage yourself.
You do. You really do.
You really do. You're really your biggest cheerleader. You really are.
But I think our teens are in the place right now where they don't know how to encourage themselves. They don't know how to actually speak articulately or even be open enough to just say, okay, I have to do this on my own. It's okay. And this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to go forward. I don't know if they're strong enough, if they can do it. I just don't know. But it is definitely something that's needed.
It's needed. And I honestly think a lot of viewers may not understand what I'm saying, but I think it's a spirit that is just creeping up in our children, trying to tear them down. There is something that God does not, the enemy does not want them to make it to that next level of their life, to become who they are. But unfortunately, ladies, we have to close. I can go on and on, as you can see, because this is something that's really dear to my heart. The children are very dear to my heart, and I know they are also dear to your hearts as well. I want to give our viewers some knowledge, and I want you to turn your Bibles to 1 Corinthians 15:33. The Bible says, do not be misled by bad company, because bad company corrupts good character. Come back to your senses. That's the bottom line. Come back to your senses. To the young man, to the young woman, only words that you need to worry about is you can make it. You are better than what they say that you are. You are better than what you think you are. Continue to believe in God. If you don't know God, get to know him. I pray that that woman that Pastor Lenore spoke to will show up, will be here with open arms to encourage you. As you know, we may not agree on everything, and we may not have all the answers, but the one thing that we do stimulate is conversations. God bless you until you see us again. Bye-bye.
Bye.
As usual, we're out of time, but not out of conversation. Listen, I want you to go to PastorTonySmith.com and get involved and get to see all our programming. Man Up, dealing with the men's talk show we have. That's in another network that comes on nightly at midnight. That was incredible. Course Conversations, you're listening to that now. And then we're part of Daily Dose, and then we have our Sunday morning hour program that we have on other networks. I want you to be a part of what Victoria's doing. You can actually go to our website and be a part of all our programming. Take some time today to tap into PastorTonySmith.com and stream or download all our services or our major programs. You can be a part of something great. All you got to do is tap in. God bless you. Bye-bye.